Tembisa is about to speak now to a security expert as well as an associate professor in the police practice department. Tembisa.
Well, thank you very much for that. So we've been hearing a lot from Matlala today. By the way, for context, he began giving evidence for his appearance before the ad hoc committee that's looking into allegations of police corruption. At about 11 o'clock today, they decided to adjourn earlier than usual at 5 p.m. That's so Matlala can continue with further consultation with his legal team, because at the beginning of proceedings, there was a bit of discussion about the fact that his statement that he was being led on in his evidence was basically one that was a work in progress and unsigned. But nonetheless, we were told that the inquiry process itself does not require that the statement be signed, so he will resume his appearance before members of the committee tomorrow. As Bongyo was saying, we're joined now by a security expert and associate professor in the police practice department at the University of Pretoria, Professor Dumisani Mabunda. Good to have you on the program as always, Professor. So let's start with what Matlala had to say about the former police minister Cele, claiming today that in fact he gave Cele money to the tune of R500,000. That's in cash. All Cele had told the inquiry, the ad hoc committee, when he appeared, was basically about his stay at a property organized by Matlala. Matlala boldly saying today that the former minister, in fact, lied under oath. How damning is this for Cele?
Yeah, thank you, Tembisa, for the opportunity to give an analysis of what transpired today. We are grateful that after some doubts yesterday, the process was able to continue today, although there were some challenges from Matlala's side, indicating that some of the things are not exactly how we would have liked them to be, since he didn't have enough time to read all the documents. But I was impressed by his cooperation to continue, so that these dots can connect, looking at what we heard from General Mkwanazi. So it is damning. Perjury, lying under oath, is a serious charge. Obviously, General Cele will have to answer for that if indeed is true. The other good side is that I hear that the money that he alleges that he paid to the person, he indicated that he will be able to provide proof at a later stage because it was withdrawn, it was hard cash, so that there is no paper trail. But I think with the assistance of the financial institutions, the committee will be able to get the proof, because allegations without proof will not stand the test of time.
And ultimately, on this R500,000 that Matlala claims that he gave to Cele, and the more than 100,000 rand, more than 200,000 rand possibly, that he says he spent on funding, if you will, accommodation, travel expenses for ANC people ahead of a January 8 meeting or gathering. Has he been able, from what you heard today, basically, to prove that that money was not spent to further any criminal agenda? I mean, what was in it for him, ultimately, if not the express intent to then have undue influence?
Yeah, looking at the opportunity that he got for the approval of his tender, amounting to around 350 million rand, paying bribes in those amounts was next to nothing. So I'm sure he was trying to ensure that the rumor that he heard that his contract was going to be cancelled would be effective. But unfortunately, he had to come to a stage where he realized that these demands are crossing the lines now. That's why he attempted to report, according to his testimony, he attempted to report in various police stations, but at some stage he was not allowed to register a case.
Is there any doubt in your mind that ultimately his intention with spending this money on people like Cele and others in the ANC allegedly was bribery?
Yeah, all evidence that is presented to these platforms will have to stand the test of time. They will be evaluated. So at this stage, it will be premature to indicate whether the allegations that have been presented by various witnesses will eventually be regarded as valuable evidence. So the committee have their hands full in terms of sifting through all the evidence that has been provided so far, including the evidence that will be presented by witnesses that are still going to come before these committees.
And regarding this SAPS contract that Matlala was fighting so hard to hold on to, but ultimately he lost it because it was found to have been awarded irregularly. It was worth more than 300 million rand, I believe. He's also told the ad hoc committee today that he got an opportunity to meet with the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, whose briefing has led us to this process to discuss that very contract. A meeting Matlala claims was facilitated by former Minister Cele. And by his account, it was a fairly cordial meeting with Mkhwanazi. Mkhwanazi even gave him some background information, if you will, according to him, on the battle around whether this contract would stay with him or not. And at some point, he says, Mkhwanazi said something to the effect of he would be willing for the National Commissioner to deal with Matlala. And when Matlala asked, what does that mean? He says Mkhwanazi responded to the effect that there's only one way to deal with you permanently. The details of the meeting then, do they discredit in any way the evidence given by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi when he appeared before the same inquiry or the committee right at the beginning of its work?
Yeah, as I've indicated earlier on, you know, in instances like this where there are accusations after accusations, you don't know who is telling the truth until at the end of the process. So people who are in trouble and are normally trying everything in their hands to portray themselves as angels, but we will wait and see. These witnesses will appear in both processes that have been established. So the possibility of them contradicting themselves are there as well, because they cannot choreograph their witnesses' statements. So they may be asked in a different way only to find that they are contradicting themselves. So at this stage, everyone that speaks appears to be telling the truth until at a later stage where the evidence will prove them otherwise. And
then I very quickly, sir, if we can, want to squeeze in a final question regarding Shadrack Sibiya and his interaction with Matlala. On Matlala's version today, we're told he reached out to Sibiya for some sort of intervention, an audience, for want of a better word, regarding a dispute related to a police clinic lease agreement, right? They then had at least 3 conversations. By the end of those meetings and discussions, Sibiya, according to Matlala, had started to ask him questions about the abduction of Jerry Bushoga, who we know to this day, his whereabouts are still unknown. Given that picture, does it strike you as odd, perhaps irregular or inappropriate, that he would have gone directly to Sibiya about an issue related to a lease business that he would have been doing, and B, that during that flow then, Sibiya would then begin to ask him about a police investigation?
Yeah, it is a good question, Tembisa. Matlala started panicking when he heard that his contract may be cancelled. So he wanted to speak with people who have influence. So I may not find anything wrong at this stage as to who he tried to contact, because you don't contact a low-ranking officer on a matter like this where a large amount of money is involved in terms of a tender. So perhaps it was his cry for help. So that's why he moved from one place to another. You can see he arranged meetings with people, trying to get them assist him in terms of reversing the decision that was about to unfold.
Good to talk to you, Professor Dumisani Mabunda from the Department of Police Practice at the University of Pretoria.